Hey guys, FilmCrazyAdam here. And wow, I can't remember the last time I just sat in front of the camera and talked to it. I've mostly just been performing in front of it for the Life with Pony videos, which a lot of you really like, and makes me happy that you like them. So thank you. But today I'm putting the film back in FilmCrazyAdam. I'm going to go see Man of Steel, and I'm going to do a review on it. I'm going to do a video review, make that easy for everybody, as well as I'm going to get back to my blog, and I got to do some catching up. There's a bunch of movies that I've seen that I just haven't written any reviews on because I've been really busy with my new job and with these pony videos. But enough of that. I got to go see this movie. So I'll be back, and you're going to see how I felt about it right after this. Okay. Okay, so I just got back. From watching Man of Steel. And I'm going to sleep on it. I don't know how I feel about this yet. And honestly, this is not how I thought I would feel after seeing this movie. To give you an idea of how I thought I'd feel, the movie, to me, looked like it was everything I wanted in a Superman movie. And it may have been, but I'm not sure at this point. I need to sleep on this. I can't even tell you if I liked it yet. I can tell you right now, I don't like this feeling. I hate the feeling more than anything when I leave a movie confused and not sure if I liked what I just saw. I like knowing if I hated it or if I loved it. So this whole feeling of, I don't know, do I like it or not jiving with me right now. I'll be honest with you. So, let me sleep on it, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. Okay, so, I slept on it, thought it over, gathered my thoughts, wrote them down, so I'm going to be looking at my computer screen every now and then just to kind of regather my thoughts. But I shall now give you the review of Man of Steel. I'm going to say this. If you like moving things, if you like action, but no story whatsoever, then go see this movie. If you want to go watch a movie for 2 hours and 30 to 40 minutes where you're not quite sure how everything, like the flow of the story, the flow of the editing, if you don't mind seeing a movie where there's no real telltale signs of transition and time progression, go see this movie. If you want to go see a movie that is similar to Superman, but ultimately is not the story of Superman, go see this movie. If you want to go see a movie where it's just action, no character development, go see this movie. Alright? That is this story, that's this movie in a nutshell. This movie is a lot of action, very beautiful visuals. I mean, I can't say anything bad about the visuals. They were very interesting, very colorful, very visual visuals. But that's all it was. I mean, damn, like, I hated Avatar because Avatar I thought was an old story because it is. It's Ferngully mixed with Dancing with Wolves. And the only good thing I say about Avatar is it's pretty. But they at least have a story. This, alright. When I say the story, it's similar to Superman because it is about this guy this alien, who is sent to Earth by his scientist parents and then becomes Superman. But I mean, it's not Superman because that's the most basic outline. If that's the most basic outline that you want, like, the story of Superman is an alien that gets sent to Earth with superpowers and he becomes a guy who can fly around and stuff, yes, then this is the story of Superman. In the same way, I can't even think of, I'm so irritated right now. I went to bed confused and angry, and I woke, and I just got more and more angry. The more I thought about this movie, the more pissed I got. And, like I said, I'm going to go over some notes right now. They changed so much of this story. Like, at the very beginning, we're on Krypton. Alright? Okay, I'm going into spoilers right now. At the very beginning of the movie, we're on the planet Krypton, and first we see Superman being born. And they got all these visuals. They've got this weird kind of three-dimensional particle imaging device, which is also a computer, and also follows them around everywhere they go. I don't know where that came from. But so Superman is born. And then we immediately cut to the Council of Elders, where Jor-El's like, guys, you don't get it. This planet's gonna blow, and it's gonna blow hard, man. We effed up, man. We drilled into the core and we unstabilized it, and we're effed, man. It's gonna suck. And then General Zod shows up, executes one of the elders, and says, I'm taking command of this planet. And there's no context for any of this. Okay, I gotta mention this right now before I go any further. If you don't know anything about Superman, you're gonna be confused as hell about when you go see this movie. This movie assumes that you already know everything there is to know about Superman, because they explain nothing. They mention things and vaguely reference them or describe them. But they don't actually go into detailed explanations about anything. There's this thing, okay, so Zod, he executes the elders and he tells Jor-El, it's like, well, you're our best scientist, so I want you on my side. And Jor-El's like, well, you're just a bloodthirsty maniac who's bent on like killing everyone, and you want to purge certain bloodlines, but not, why do you get to choose, Mr. Hitler, that you get to choose who lives and who dies? And Zod doesn't really take kindly to that, and Jor-El makes a run for it, and evidently, and so then we cut to this winged creature which Jor-El flies, and he goes to, in the Matrix where you've got like skyscrapers high of just people in pods being created by machines? That's evidently what's going on Krypton. Evidently nobody is born naturally except for Kal-El, and that was a science experiment done by his parents. Like, we're going to try something different, and we're going to make a kid naturally. Everyone else on planet Krypton is made the same way people are in the Matrix, okay? And the way that they're designed, or like the genetic encoding that they use, is this thing called the codex, which is like this part of it's a petrified skull, and God, it looks like something you would dig out of like the mountains in Utah or something and say that this is part of evolution. And evidently, it's called the codex. Where did this come from? See, I'm a fan of comics. I'm a nerd, but I've never heard of this, and they're just pulling this out of there. We got a codex. We're going to call it the codex, and this evidently has the genetic structure of every single person on Krypton, and I can't even go too much further into it than that, because that's basically that's the way they described it. They're like, it's really precious. It's this skull, and without it, we can't re-engineer our people. But I've never heard of this before, and I'm not going to explain it to you, but here it is. It's a skull, and for some reason, Jor-El thinks it's a good idea to steal it and then encode it into his son, which is what he does, which they never really explain why Jor-El encoded this codex into his son. Like, it never led anywhere. It just became this thing that Zod wanted. So when he shows up on Earth later, he's like, where's the codex? Oh, it's in you? Well, let's just kill you and get it out of you. But I mean, it didn't... Why can't you just use your own DNA, Zod? I mean, if you think you're the superior guy, the superior race, why do you need the genome from this codex skull thing when you already think you're like the superior race? Why don't you just use your own blood? I don't get it. I was confused. So then Zod fights Jor-El in his house, kills Jor-El, and then next scene he's on trial. Is it the next day? Is it weeks from now? Is it a month from now? I don't know. It's just, now he's on trial. And after he gets sent to the negative zone, now the planet's exploding. There's no progression of time. It's just cut. Horribly edited. God, awful horribly edited. And then we go to Earth. We don't see Clark grow up. We get flashbacks of him growing up. And we spend so little time on these flashbacks. Not only that, but we spend so little time with so many people that you never get to know these people. All the people that I met in this movie, all the characters that I see on screen, I know who they are because I'm a fan of the comics. I know who Perry White is, and I'm not going to say anything that I'm not going to bitch that Lawrence Fishburne took the place of Perry White, because I think Lawrence Fishburne is a pretty good actor and he did all right as Perry White. But I mean, it's just so jarring that you're expecting one thing and get another. Like I said, it wasn't a bad thing, but it's like you walk into a restaurant and you say, I want to order a cheeseburger, and they hand you a pizza. You know, I like pizza, but I ordered a cheeseburger. That's what I was expecting. They're both good, but this is what I was expecting, and, oh, God, I'm kind of rambling, but they don't spend much time with Perry White. They don't spend much time with Lois Lane. Like, they introduce Lois Lane, and that's it. They don't really kind of feature her as a main character. Oh, man. They spend so little time on the characters. This movie was just... You know what? I'm rambling. Let me get to the notes. This is more organized thought. Alright. Okay. Alright, I went over the codex. Oh! Okay. So... here are the things that was one of the things they added. The codex and this genetic engineering thing. That's okay, I guess. But it's one thing to add things to a story. Okay? It's one thing if you have an established story and you want to add to it, and you're going to add new things to the story and like build layers on it based off of the old material. But here's the thing. This might just be me, but I think there's a lot of people who might agree with me that you can't take away from an already established idea. You can add to it, kind of put a spin on things that are already there, but you can't just take stuff away from a story. From an already established ideal and universe. You just, for example, Superman doesn't design... Alright, there is no Fortress of Solitude. I kind of rolled with... Evidently, in this universe, in Krypton, they have all these outposts. Or they sent outposts and then just abandoned them. And they're, like, 18,000 years ago, and that's the actual number, 18,000 years ago, they sent a scout ship to Earth. And then they abandoned it. But Superman finds it. I don't know why he went to find it, or I don't know how he found it, but he found it. And then he flies it to... He flies the ship to the North Pole, or something in the polar region, but he doesn't build a Fortress of Solitude. There is no Fortress of Solitude. And Jor-El just gives him the suit, because I guess that's what you do. It's like... I mean, you know how like Q like gives James Bond a bunch of suits and gadgets? That's what the dead hologram of Jor-El did to Superman. Like, by the way, here's your new suit, and just doors open up. He's got this new suit. There's a cape. I don't know why, but there it is. And there's a lot of this. There's just so much of this story that didn't feel like a Superman movie. That in the end, I just left angry and confused. I'm like, how is this Superman? You've seen these parts in the trailers where you see like skyscrapers collapsing and like things breaking. There is, when Zod arrives on Earth, Superman surrenders to him, says basically, here, I'll do whatever you want, don't hurt these people. And then Zod explains, well, thank you for surrendering, now we have that genetic material we wanted. Now we're going to terraform this planet to be more like Krypton and basically kill everyone on Earth. So there's an epic fight between Superman and all these Kryptonians. And I will say this, it was kind of cool, because when you think of Superman, and when you think of the power he's got, the raw strength, and the flying ability, and the shooting with the laser eyes, you think, this is going to be pretty epic. Like, these fights are going to be pretty epic. And then, just because of technology and filming in the past, like with Superman 2, you know, it was not really that epic. It was just a little bit here, a little bit there. This movie was more like an episode of Dragon Ball Z, where they're punching with epic force and literally flying at the speed of light into a mountain and just destroying the mountain because they're just flying so fast and they hit it so effing hard. And they do that, and that actually happens when Superman's trying to learn to fly. Evidently, he doesn't know how to fly right off the bat, so he's just jumping. And so he jumps up once, and then falls with such force that he literally levels a mountain range, or at least one mountain. And I'm like, alright, that's kind of cool. And because of computers, we can like make it look like he's flying really fast, and that's cool too. But here's the thing. I call bullshit on this because when Superman has this epic fight with these Kryptonians, it happens in Metropolis. And I'm not kidding you. I shit you not when I say that during the course of the movie, millions of people die. You never see them. And again, this I don't know if this falls on the director or the writing or what, but like, I never felt anything for anyone who died because, first of all, I never got to meet them. They never showed them. But I kid you not that this is a city the size of like Los Angeles. I mean, Metropolis is effing huge. I mean, it is sprawled out. And they destroy half this city. At least half of this city. Entire skylines are being destroyed. Millions of people are dying. I mean, how is that a Superman movie when he doesn't, yeah, if you want to say, okay, we're going in a different direction with the story, this is somebody else's spin on it, we're going to make it darker, more gritty. Not for nothing, I don't want it more darker and gritty. It's Superman. The idea of Superman is that he saves everybody. He's Superman. He can save everybody. But I'm telling you, man, there's no way that at least 5-6 million people died in this city. Not only that, but then at one point, Superman like just straight up kills Zod. Spoilers. He just neck snaps the son of a bitch. And how is that Superman? How is all these people dying? I mean, it's... God, I was so confused. I walked away with such a bad flavor in my mouth because I'm like, what was that? An entire city, or 60% of that city is gone. Literally a parking lot. I'm getting really loud, really excited. I need more Mountain Dew. Let me see, what do I got? Yeah, like I said, it was very action-packed. But dude, I got tired really quick because it was so... Things happened so fast. I mean, Superman punches hard enough that, he punches you into last year. And then he punches last year into last century. But when that's all you're doing for like 10, 15 minutes, where you're just punching and things are moving so fast that you literally can't keep up with it, which is weird for a Zack Snyder movie because Zack loves slow motion. Dude have you seen 300? Have you seen Watchmen? I mean, dude, like, he owns slow motion. So what was his excuse with this one? That we couldn't just slow down and see things, or at least, do that alternate thing where everything else slows down but they're moving at normal speed because they're going so fast, like bullet time. I didn't understand that. But seriously, it got really boring really fast because I just got tired of watching Superman or these other Kryptonians just fly through buildings and then the building collapsing on them. And I'm not just talking about a small IHOP, although that does happen. I'm talking about skyscrapers and gas stations. I mean, how many gas stations did Superman get thrown into and it just explodes, killing like a dozen people each time it... I'm not kidding, man. Like this, I would be so pissed, so angry if like, at the end of the Avenger movie where like they show different sides of people are like, their response, because these heroes are here, all this evil came and like tried to destroy our city and like conquer us, and so it's their fault. But I can sit back and be like, see, it wasn't their fault. I mean, if not for them, we would be enslaved. But they didn't, it wasn't them who drew them. It wasn't them who drew people here, drew the enemies here. The enemies developed on their own, and then it just so happened that the superheroes developed on their own as well. And, there might be a little bit push and pull on the creation of the villain and the hero. But ultimately, you can't, like with Superman, he shows up and like people died. Again, millions of people died because of him. I'd be so pissed. I mean, God, it's so crazy. But back to the action, it just gets boring. For 15 minutes watching guys get thrown through walls, that's all you do for 15 to or maybe it's like half an hour, just watching people fly through buildings, and then the building collapse, and it's the weirdest. Like, you know, people are in the building. Never once does he try and stop. Like, he saves like 5 people during the entire course of the movie. But you never actually see like the people in the building collapsing because of that, you have no sense of loss. I kept feeling that nobody lives in the city because we never see any people running, we never see any people dying, we never see any people screaming. Just buildings collapsing. But what else do I got? God. It was such a huge divergence from the classic familiar storyline. It just didn't feel like Superman. And like I said, the character of Lois Lane knows who Clark Kent is. Like, this is actually part of the story, and this is actually the first time they ever portrayed Lois Lane as an actual intelligent person. She's actually a really good, can't think of the word, but a journalist. She tracks stuff down. She actually tracks all the way back to Clark's childhood and finds him. Literally finds his house, talks to his mother, talks to him, and at the end of the movie, big spoiler, he doesn't actually become a reporter until the very end of the movie, where he shows up at the Daily Planet in the classic Clark Kent, you know, suit, glasses. But Lois already knows, like, never once during this movie did Lois not know who Superman was. I mean, he didn't have a secret identity. He was always just Superman. And now he's got a secret identity. Like, it's just so weird for Lois Lane to know who Superman is. That was one of the cool things about Superman, or at least that was one of the things that appealed to so many people. And is so much part of the story is that he works so closely with this one chick that Clark Kent works with Lois Lane and loves her and wants her, but Lois only has eyes for Superman, who of course Clark is, and so you have that dilemma, and like, you know, you just have that weird dilemma and dynamic because he wants her to love him as Clark, but she only loves Superman, and so for him he's always kind of in a little bit of torture because I want to tell her but I can't tell her. Now she knows. There's no secret, which that's a new spin, I guess, so it's good, I guess, but you're taking something out of what made Superman Superman. Let's see. Like I said, the story, like the editing was horrible. We didn't get to meet any of the characters for too long. The character of Clark's father, of Superman's father, or Clark's father, is played by Kevin Costner. The part of Perry White is played by Lawrence Fishburne. I swear to you, both those actors did all of their parts in 2 days. That's how much we see these guys on screen. We see them for like collectively together. I think Kevin Costner has about 3 minutes of screen time, maybe 4. Lawrence Fishburne has 5 minutes, I guess. But, you know, we never meet these characters. We never learn and really understand these characters. So when things happen to them, like when Kevin Costner's character dies, I didn't really care. Because we didn't get to know him. We didn't get to understand him. We didn't get to really meet the guy. Lawrence Fishburne, there's this scene when Lawrence and like these 2 other people are fleeing from the collapsing Daily Planet building. One of them gets caught under rubble. And so the 2 of them are trying to help her out of this rubble before this Kryptonian weapon kills them. And there's a scene where like they lock eyes and, you know, it's supposed to be really dramatic and you're supposed to really feel and for all these characters. But I couldn't. There was nothing there to feel because I don't know who these people are. They're just some people on the street. I never met them. Let's see. And like I said, I felt that this movie already assumed that you knew everything about Superman, so we're not going to explain everything. But the things we are going to explain, we're going to do it in kind of awkward, in-your-face, on-screen exposition. Which, if you want to see the worst movie if you want to see the movie that's the biggest offender of on-screen exposition, watch The Last Airbender. M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender, where I think like 78% of the dialogue is just exposition, where they walk into the room and it's like, aha, here we are at the palace, here to find the scroll, where in a normal movie, that would have been explained, and they would have just walked into the palace, gotten the scroll, and like, alright, let's go. But here, just like in Superman, at the beginning, General Zod shows up in the chamber room, And Jor-El's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, General Zod? What are you doing here, leader of the Kryptonian forces? Well, I am here to overthrow them. Jor-El, our greatest scientist. But you can't, because I am explaining to them that the planet is going to explode because of the things that we've done that everyone already knows we're doing, but I'm going to explain it because the people in the audience don't know we're doing it, so I have to let them know. That's why I'm talking about this. Well, that was just overcomplicated, sir. And, every single line of, like, so much dialogue is just exposition in this movie, especially whenever it's Jor-El speaking. Every single line of dialogue out of Russell Crowe's mouth is exposition. Explaining things to the audience, spoon-feeding it to them, bashing them over the head. This is information you need to know. You must be aware of this, or else you're not going to understand the next scene. Which is true, and that's just bad writing. That's bad writing when you got to exposit this stuff. Hey, on another note, I'm just sick of people giving movies free passes because they had the guts to try something new. So what? I can make an apple pie with sweaty gym socks instead of apples. I had the guts to try something new. It doesn't mean it's a masterpiece. It doesn't mean it's good. See, the problem with Man of Steel is that, again, you took a story that people liked, people loved, people were familiar with, people understood, people knew about it, and then you just changed everything. Like I said, you can add stuff to a movie and still make it good. Put your own spin on it, put your own ideas in it, but like but it's still, you're maintaining the same story, and you're just kind of adding to it and putting a new spin on the same story. This, and what they're doing so many freaking movies, like with Snow White and the Huntsman and Man of Steel, is they start taking out from the original story. We're going to take away from the original story and make it our own, but we're still going to call it this original, we're still going to call it Superman, we're still going to call it Snow White, but we're going to take everything that made those movies and those stories what they are. We're going to take all that out, or we're going to take most of it out, keep the characters named, keep one or two things from the original story, and then add all this new stuff. You're making it completely different. It's not the same story. Stop saying it's a good Superman movie. Stop saying it's a good attempt, because it's not a Superman movie. It's not. God dang it. And I just hate it when people say, oh, well, you just didn't like it because it's not every other Superman movie. That's right! I don't like it because it's not every other Superman movie. Every other Superman movie is about Superman and follows the same story. Each one does something a little bit different, but they don't take away from it. You know, the Superman movies with Christopher Reeve, the Superman the Animated Series, hell, even the, with George Reeves, the black and white Superman show from back in the day. Those were all Superman because they all pulled from the same story and they just added on to it. We're going to add this character, we're going to add this villain, we're going to add, you know, this wrinkle into it, but we're not going to take away from it. He's still a Boy Scout. He still saves everybody, and he doesn't kill anybody. He still comes from a planet that gets destroyed. And that's kind of the only thing that actually carried over from the original story into this movie, is that, yeah, he came from a planet that got destroyed, and he has superpowers. That's it. Everything else is different. He's not a Boy Scout. In some cases, he's like at the end, he tells people, you can go, it's like, you know what, I can kill you if I want, but I'm not, because I'm a good guy. You're just going to have to trust me on that one. This isn't the story about Superman, and just because somebody took the old Superman, pulled things out of it, added their own crap, and then called it Superman, doesn't make it Superman, doesn't make it a good idea, and I shouldn't applaud them for bastardizing a story. I hate that, and I hate when people stand up for it just because, oh, they decided to try something new, they had the guts to do something new. Screw you! Screw you and your creative license. If you're going to make a story about Superman, if you're going to make a story about Snow White, if you're going to make a story about Robin Hood, you have to make it a story about Robin Hood. You can't just make it a story, you can't just make a movie, name your characters after the characters from that story, and say, oh yeah, it's Robin Hood, oh yeah, it's Snow White, oh yeah, it's Superman, because there's a guy named Superman in it, there's a guy named Robin Hood in it, and there's a chick named Maid Marian in it. Yeah, so it has to be that movie. No, it doesn't. These stories have canon. These stories have chronicles. These stories have existed for a long time. Everyone knows how these stories go. That's why they go to see the movie in theaters. They want to see that story. They want to see the story about the guy who can save everybody. You want to come out of that movie feeling good, and that's why you go see the movie. A lot of people don't realize that you prejudge movies on 3 things, basically. The director, the actors, and the source material. The reason why people go see certain movies is because they know they're feel-good movies. They know they're heroic movies. They know superhero movies, the superhero is going to come out on top. And you know what? I think I'm done talking about this right now. I've ranted. I ranted big time about this. Let's see. I talked about. Oh, last note is this movie was a just shamelessly product play. This was a product placing bitch movie. That's what this movie was. Specifically for Nikon, IHOP, U-Haul, Sears, and 7-Eleven. I think they blew up like 3 7-Elevens. So I don't know if 7-Eleven was happy about that. And they leveled an IHOP. Like I said, I wasn't kidding. They totally destroyed an IHOP. And yeah, actually every single thing that was placed product-wise got destroyed. So yeah, that's an interesting mixed message, I guess. Here, shop here, because we explode. Or we have explosive sales at this place, literally. Anyway, enough ranting, enough raving. I thought Man of Steel was bad. Like I said, it wasn't even entertaining. It's really sad when, in my opinion, for me, the best Superman movie that I've ever seen, the best live-action Superman movie I've ever seen, is the one that gets made fun of the most. Out of the 6 Superman movies that have been made, my favorite has got to be Superman Returns. And that's the one that most people hate. That's the one that everyone makes fun of. Oh, by the way, Lex Luthor never shows up in Man of Steel. In fact, that was another thing about Man of Steel, is that I wasn't quite sure where the story was going. Like, rule number 1 as a scriptwriter is you have to lock in the conflict. Because as an audience member, you want to sit down in a movie and you want to see where the story is going, where the characters are going towards. Lord of the Ring, it's easy. These guys are trying to destroy this ring, and so you know about their struggle. You see where they're going, and thus that creates dramatic tension because you know they have to destroy the ring. So whenever something happens that gets in their path, is the bad guy going to get the ring because we don't want him to get the ring, we want to destroy it, or are they going to die, or is somebody going to steal the ring? That's dramatic tension. In this movie, I'm not saying there wasn't any dramatic tension. Actually, yeah, I did say there was no dramatic tension because I didn't know any of these characters, so I didn't care for any of them. So when some of them died, I was like, whatever. But I never understood what the end game was for this movie. I mean, I kind of surmised, like, I guess he's going to beat Zod, but at what cost? Because, you know, like, going back to Lord of the Rings, the reason why he had to destroy the ring was because all of Middle-earth hung in the balance. You know, there was a consequence. Here, there really didn't seem to be any consequence. Because Superman was fighting Zod, and the entire time he's like, he didn't seem to care. It was just like, well, Zod's just bad, so that's why I'm going to... But if everyone else dies, that's cool too, I guess, because millions of people died when I destroyed that city. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I thought about Man of Steel, is that it was a bad movie. It was a waste of my time. I saw it in 3D. That was a mistake. Never see anything in 3D. It's just a gimmick, and it actually distracts from the movie. I hate 3D. God, why? That was such a mistake. On another note, a little bit happier note, I am getting back to what makes FilmCrazyAdam FilmCrazyAdam. I'm going to be doing movie reviews. The next one that will be out this week. In fact, as soon as this is up, I'm going to be back to editing it. I'm going to be working on the review for In Time, for I Heard That Movie Sucks. There's a new episode of Life with Ponies coming out. If not tonight, it'll be out tomorrow. Anyway, look forward to that. I'll be doing more of these reviews, these video reviews, as I see more movies that I think deserve them. Anyway, thank you. If you've stuck with me for this long, you guys are true fans, and I hope I didn't disappoint, and I hope you don't go see Man of Steel, because it's not worth it. Anyway, laters, guys.